Welcome to the Kiwi Mana Day. Hi there, thanks for taking time to listen to episode 70 of our beekeeping podcast. This week we are talking about thieving mongrels, wasps, and beep on beehives.
What's beep?
Well, you're going to beep it anyway, so yeah, people will be interested about that.
You've saved me a job.
Indeed, and the executive producers for this month's show are Lauren Hoffman and Aaron Jennings from Jennings Apiaries.
Yes, fantastic. Thanks, guys, for supporting Kiwi Mana through our Patreon account. It is fantastic, and welcome to the Kiwi Mana.
Buzz.
And Lauren and Aaron have got a podcast, haven't they? They interviewed us a couple of weeks ago now.
Yeah, it was really good.
We'll see how that turns out. And this recent one, they've interviewed Michael Bush.
Yeah, well, he's an absolute gem to have on the show. He's got some wonderful history there. So, yeah, it's all good.
Well, welcome to the Kiwi Mana Buzz. Hi, I'm Gary, and that's Margaret.
Hi.
And we are beekeepers from the hills of the Waitakere Ranges in West Auckland, New Zealand. And what's our podcast about, Marg?
Well, our podcast is about beekeeping, gardening, and a bit of politics, and that's about environmental issues or politics. And we've also been known to go off on a tangent or two or three, maybe four.
That's true. And the show notes for this podcast are kiwimana.co.nz/70.
Awesome, and thank you for listening to our show, and we know that life is busy for you, and we appreciate that you've taken time to join us today, and we hope that you will get some value from the things we are talking about today, and that you have a moment that you can listen to this while you're busy working with your bees. So,
absolutely. Thanks for the intro there, Margaret. It's fantastic.
You're most welcome.
And thanks for you coming along. It's been great.
Thank you. Yes, I'm feeling a lot better. My voice is getting sort of normal. And, yeah, so it's all good. So what's happening at Kiwi Mana HQ, Gary?
Well, we have an interesting article about disappearance of bees, a mystery, and it's a worrying article from New Zealand about some hives showing signs of CCD. And Dr. Mark Goodwin thinks it may be Nosema. So that's a very disturbing incident that's happening in the Coromandel area. Yes,
I've talked to a couple of commercial beekeepers, as it happens, who have said that there's some studies going on about the aphid there that's on the willow tree. So that is not good news, and yeah.
No, it's a shocking article. So we'll include it on the show notes. You can have a read of that. And treatments are almost complete at Kiwi Mana. Well, at Kiwi Mana they're completed, but our quarantine apiary is just about completed.
You just told them all my news. Thanks.
Oh.
Yes, treatments are almost complete at the quarantine apiary.
Well, not really, but they will be. They will be when this comes out.
Indeed, Amundo.
And we've been doing some over the weekend. I did some wasp tracking exercises.
And how successful was that, Gary?
Not very at all. We attracted a few wasps using some old comb and honey, but they seemed to come along and they disappeared, and they didn't seem to come back. So it was hard to track them. I did some looking around all the obvious places where wasp nests are located, but I couldn't find any. And I'm thinking I'm going to try with a protein-based lure this time.
Yeah, I think that would be the right thing to do, because at this time of the year, that's what they're looking for. And we got an email through from our followers, and he talks about paper wasps actually just ruining his hive, and it failed. So I've never heard of that one before. So that's a new one to me.
Yeah, not paper wasps. I've heard German wasps and common wasps.
Yeah, me too. Obviously.
Well, we actually went to our quarantine apiary one day, was about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And they were just getting pummeled with wasps. And
absolutely.
We highly suspect we've lost one hive.
Yeah.
And so that's really sad news.
Yeah, I built some single screen robbing screens and put them on, but I think the cluster was still quite strong. Well, not strong, but there was still a good solid cluster there, but it's hard to see if it was actually really the right bees, because we opened it during the day. So, but I'm pretty sure it's gone.
We'll have to check that when you do the treatments.
Because it was a bit smaller than the other ones, the other colonies. So the wasps, we came up to the hives and they looked really busy, and then we got close and it wasn't bees, it was bloody wasps. So
yeah, bit of a pain at the moment. There were wasps, and in America they call them yellow jackets, and here we just call them a pain in the ass.
Beep. Oh, is that a bit late? Anyway.
Well, ass is just a donkey, so that's okay.
Oh, I thought that was ass.
No.
Anyway, the wasp tracking updates weren't too successful.
No, we are
moving along.
We are working on an article about that, so I will tell you when we do it successfully. And as I said before, we were interviewed on the Bees and Such podcast with Aaron and Lauren. That was good. That will be coming out soon.
And we hope you all listen to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, next one.
We have a new beekeeping Facebook group that we set up, and it's called Urban Beekeeping in New Zealand. We've already got a few hundred people on there, so it's awesome.
Big shout out to you, Gary, for putting this together, and it's really creating a new buzz, an extended urban Kiwimana buzz, so really well done.
Yeah, I like it, and the good thing about it is anyone can post on it. So it's not just restricted to people at Kiwimana, so people can put their own little questions or do stuff like that, because we think it's great that everyone's helping each other out, and I think it's been some
and
great
people, it is. It's good. There's good responses out there, and there's people putting on stuff that they found on the World Wide Web and putting it in there for people to have a look at. So thanks for that, guys, and awesome to have that on board now. And as I said, well done, Gary.
No problem. And there's some great photos, that people have been posting. Some really fantastic photos of their bees and their kids playing with the bees. It's really great. Yeah,
and Daniel and Sarah from down in, whereabouts are they again? Hamilton.
Yeah.
Yeah, they put some really nice photos in there, and we love hearing about what they're up to, so keep it up. It's awesome.
And there's even some photos of that swarm that you found the other day, but we'll talk about that later.
Okay, we will.
And I did some crushing and straining some honey, which was sort of not successful really, but
it was more of a strain on the relationship, wasn't it?
There was a lot. Everything was sticky for a long time.
Oh man, that was when I came back from being down the line.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it took weeks to get that all sorted out.
Weeks.
But hallelujah, we got through it.
We did, and finishing up, we've actually been working on a new version of the website because we've got to make it mobile friendly. So you guys can look at it when you're out on your mobiles.
And we love to be friendly.
Especially to mobiles.
Indeed.
No, we're trying to make it more mobile friendly so that can help people with iPads and phones and stuff.
Yeah, awesome. I think that'll be really good, and I hope that everyone sees how good it is, and there might be a bit of difficulty
initially. Changes.
Yeah, so just let us know if there's anything that's not working or if you're having any troubles.
Yes.
We can help you out with that.
Speaking of that, the people in Australia told us that the international shipping wasn't working, so that was really great, guys, that you told us that. And we've actually fixed that now, so that's awesome. So you can order stuff from overseas again. So sorry about that. That was we don't know because we don't live overseas, but we must do some testing.
Oh, indeed. And sometimes these things aren't always don't come up when we first do it. So it's good to get the feedback so we can fix things. So email info@kiwimana.co.nz if you've got any issues. So we're happy to talk you through it or, get things sorted for you.
Absolutely. And what's happening with you, Margaret?
Well, so much. There's just so much going on.
Okay. Well, what's the most important thing?
The most important thing was on the Monday, I went to the mediation for the Auckland Council Unitary Plan. There's a proposal in there to put bees under the Resource Management Act and having them under certain permitted use or whatever. And I'm just trying to get my head around what permitted means or permitted. And permitted to me is that you can do it and it's all okay. And permitted says to me you have to get a permit, which costs money, as far as I understand. They haven't said about that. Really interesting to talk to the committee, and so the discussions were confidential until they put their statement together in a few days. And once I get that, I'll check that out on the website, and I'll get you a link to that when they've finished that. But the actual hearing is going to be happening after the 28th of May, and you have to get if you're doing any presentations and you want to provide some extra evidence, as it's called, whether it be just scientific evidence, if you need to do that, or whatever you want to put towards the hearing panel, you have to have it in before the 28th of May. And that evidence could be just you going into more detail about what your submission is against and why and that kind of thing, a bit more information than your written submission. And this is to do with the Auckland Unitary Plan, which is currently being under consideration and going to the hearing committee in June. So that was the update on that, and once I get that info, I'll get that to you.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
We look forward to that. And what's blooming? Blooming at Kiwimana. Oh, that was a blog post you did, isn't it?
Yeah, I have fun doing those blooming ones.
Blooming. That's good.
Thanks.
And so that's been quite popular.
Yeah, I enjoy doing that one because it sort of gets me out to just look at what's going on in the apiary and what's happening around the apiary. And the lavender at the moment is just going crazy. And I've got some chives there which are white flowered chives, and the bees were just loving them, but they only lasted for about 2 weeks, I think, and then we got some heavy rain, so they're mostly gone now, but the lavender's still going strong, and the roses are all getting some new buds, and yeah, hopefully they're going to be having a good show once they get there. So yeah.
Oh, it sounds good.
So what else were we talking about? Oh yeah, in the workshop I've been building a few special orders of robbing screens for our friends in Australia, and just hoping to hear from them to see how they go, because they are having a plague of wasps basically, and it's mostly in southern Australia from what we understand. Yeah, we know how they feel because we had that last season, so it's difficult. But I think sometimes having these robbing screens and then an entrance reduced as well, two ways to deal with it, because the wasps get a bit confused on the mesh. So definitely worth building a few of them, people.
Yeah, absolutely. That'll be probably a new product we're going to release, isn't it, in the new year?
Yeah, we haven't got on our website. People are mostly emailing us for these, and yeah, you can. I'm happy for you to email me or info@kiwimana.co.nz if you want to order anything special like that, because sometimes during the season we can't always get things in advance, but we can build them, to order. So don't hesitate to contact us.
And you've been tackling wild swarms hanging in trees.
Absolutely. We went to have a look at a call from a lady who called us last year about a swarm, which I easily got. It was just about a metre up and at waist height in a tree, so that was easily collected. So she rings me and tells me that she's got another swarm, and it's a couple of metres up a tree. So off we go. We pack up our gear and we go and get in the car, and this is me and my volunteer helper, and we tootle off to the place, and there you go, 8 metres high up in a tree. Which is pretty common, when we get our swarm calls. They say it's only a couple of metres, not very high, and then you go there and it's like you have to need 2 ladders and a chair lift and whatever else you need.
Yeah, a helicopter.
Anyway, we're trying to see if we can get some help with that, and it's actually, Gary has mentioned that it has been put on the photos that were taken, were put on the Urban Beekeeping forum.
Yeah, your helper posted those up there, so
Yeah.
so that's good. No, it looks impressive. So I wonder if it'll survive winter, or it depends.
Yeah, and it was good to hear Tyson making a comment about that, because we were wondering, Lynn and I, as to how long the colony had been there, and he says it's probably been there over 5 days if it's building that kind of comb.
Because how many rows of comb did it have?
It had about from what I could see, maybe 5 or 6.
Oh, I think it's probably been there a while.
Yeah, and it's he says it's over 5 days. And I think it's quite a big swarm, so we're going to see if we can get some help with that, see if we can get some community service from one of the companies that might be able to help us with that, but we'll keep you posted on that one.
Yeah, hopefully someone's got a cherry picker that they can lend us for the bees. Yeah,
and we had a wild swarm about a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And I just got in touch to find out with the people who own the land, and apparently the colony survived winter and then they absconded. But now they're just before winter again. They've come back, but behind the original thing. So I'm going to go and have a look at how that is.
Yeah.
And see what's going on there. So I'll get some photos on that. But that was good to get an update.
No, we should get some swarm laws around there, eh? Try and capture them. But
you don't know where the bees have come from, so
no.
Anyway, that's what's going on at Kumana HQ, and Lynn she's my volunteer helper, and she has been helping with doing some weed trimming around the hives. And 2 weeks ago I vacuumed.
Well,
I mowed the lawn.
You probably did vacuum around the hive.
Anyway,
you've done it before.
I've mowed the lawns, and and of course now with a bit of sun and a lot of rain, they're just growing like nobody's business. But this is a time of year that we have to keep an eye on the water in the hive. So if your hive is a solid bottom board, don't forget to lift it from the rear so it sits a bit higher, so no water can stay in the hive, because a damp hive is a dead hive.
Absolutely. Let's move on to blog recap. Blog recap. This is where we talk about the last month's top blog posts. Number 1, how to extract honey without a honey extractor. This was an video in a video that we did, and how to make a 2-bucket extractor system, which I think we probably need to update that, don't we? Because it doesn't work very well with Manuka honey, and we probably need to add some more holes. And we used a cheesecloth, but I think we might need to use just a mesh.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that the extraction method was the centrifugal one, which is rotating the frames. And I think that it just seemed to disintegrate the...
Oh, that was we were doing 2 methods. We were doing the new extracting system that we were working on, and also we used the crush and strain method, but neither were that successful. So we must keep working on that. I
think one of the things that I would say about crush and straining, a lot of people think that you have to really mash the everything to pieces. You don't have to. All you need to do is gently press the comb, because all you need to do is get the caps to be broken.
Yeah, just break the capping.
Yeah, and you don't have to really mash it to pieces. But what we've done is that we are being a bit sustainable with this, and we know the hives that these have come from, and they're all being checked before the honey was taken off, and they're all clean and disease-free. So the honey that was left over from this and was so crushed, the wax and everything was so crushed, we've made them into honey cakes. So we're going to be using them as a feed. We've just put them in the freezer, and then we'll take them out and use them to feed the bees over winter if we need to. And when we start doing our splits, we'll probably look at using that. So the reason for that is that why waste it?
Oh,
And
yeah,
once
absolutely.
the bees have, because we'll put a top feeder on the hives and we'll put the honey cakes in there, and then once they've eaten whatever they've eaten, we'll take the remaining wax out and put it into the melter, solar wax melter.
The Solar Max Wax Melter.
Get the maximum wax as you can.
Absolutely, but the weather now is probably not wax melting weather, is it? It's
no,
very damp and cold.
It's been a bit cold, that's for sure, and we're getting our new fire in June, so we're very excited about that.
Yes, we will be crispy warm.
Yay!
Finally, after
8 years.
8 years. Come on.
Alrighty.
And the next blog post, we've gone off on a tangent there about fires. Sick Queen Bee. This was the podcast we did with you just after you just slightly recovered, and everyone commented about your sexy voice.
Oh yes, very sexy.
So that was quite popular. So that was good. Let's move.
So
to the news.
You went over the German wasps.
Yep. Oh, I missed that.
We sort of did talk about German wasps.
We did, but the second most popular article was one we wrote called German Wasps, How to Keep Them Out of Your Beehives, and this was in 2013 we released that, but it's suddenly become a popular post. I suspect I know why.
Yes, I suspect so. I think
the whole country is suffering from wasps.
And I think Australia are probably doing some searches on that as well at the moment, and we've used quite a few different sort of what I call them wasp guards, and we've used wider mesh, and they were really good. They really did confuse the wasps, those wider mesh ones.
Yeah, and that article also has stuff about traps you can make. Yeah, we've tried lots and lots of ideas, and all of them work to a degree, but I think the best method is to kill the wasps,
Yeah, I think that's one thing that when you come to about August, we put a crushed, get a tarpaulin and just sort of scrunch it up and leave it out, by the shed, and a lot of the queens are in there, and then we go through just before, as maybe the July, August, we would do that, and then we would look at them at the end of August, early September, and generally what we do is we find queens in there, so that's something that you could try, folks, if you want to trap them and kill them off before they start any new nests.
Yeah, because every queen you get rid of, you're probably stopping a potential whole colony of them.
Absolutely.
So what you can do is pay your children $1 for every queen they find.
Yeah.
Because they're pretty harmless, aren't they, when they're just by themselves?
Yeah, the queens are usually still in a bit of a sort of...
sleeping, aren't they?
Sleep state, or whatever they call it.
Vegetative. Or
hibernative state.
Hibernative state. Is that a word?
Oh, absolutely, it is now.
Let's move to the news.
Okay.
Kiwimana. Beekeeping news you can use.
And we have it here, folks. Taranaki beekeeper is stung by thieving mongrels.
Bloody mongrels.
That's it.
Well, beekeeper Stephen Black has lost thousands in honey and hives in a theft he blames on increasingly cutthroat industry.
Yeah, I think that he might have a really good point there, because we're hearing about this quite a bit. Yeah, we're trying to get an update from him, and we'd like to, send our wishes to them and hope that they can get those people, if you want to call them that.
Yes, we will try and get a hold of him later on the show, and we'll see if we can talk to him about what the hives look like, and maybe you guys can look out for them.
Yeah.
They've lost 20 hives, and they're just about ready to extract the honey off them, so it's be a lot of honey, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it'd be an interesting article to read, and, maybe there has to be a bit more vigilance in how we mark our hives.
Yep, exactly.
Maybe there's some, homing device or something that can be put somewhere where no one can see it.
Yeah, like an RFID chip or
something.
or a hand grenade with a string on it.
Yeah.
That might be against the law.
They might not like that. And who are they? They are they.
Kiwimana does not endorse using hand grenades on beehives.
Absolutely.
Anyway,
Okay. Yes, okay.
if we can get hold of him, we'll include that in the podcast.
Yeah,
But apparently he's up till 2 a.m. tonight moving beehives, so we couldn't get hold of him tonight. Anyway, drought causes shortage of honeycomb. The dry conditions in the South Island of New Zealand have led to a major shortage of honeycomb. Managing Director of a Timaru honey company, Steve Little, said there has been very little clover in pastures, so bees had produced much less honeycomb than usual.
That's interesting because we've had the bees quite slow this season and late and so many other things factoring in this season for the bees, like they were late to get their splits done, and then we had real bad weather, and then the splits failed, and then they were stuck in the hives longer, so they ate all their honey. Then the bees started to get hungry, and then there wasn't enough, food, and then we had quite a nice summer that became a drought. So the bees have really had it this year, and the pests have been just so prolific. So
yeah, they haven't had much luck, have they? This year?
No, not at all. And what else does he say?
He just says that they've produced a lot less honeycomb, so they haven't been able to sell many honeycombs, so it's not good. And speaking of hassling the bees, weed sprays may cause antibiotic resistance. A Canterbury University scientist says his research suggesting common weed sprays decrease the effectiveness of antibiotics and could have major implementations to humans and to bees. Also, this month, the World Trade Organization has announced that glyphosate was a probable carcinogenic
Glyphosate.
Glyphosate.
Which is an ingredient in Roundup.
And also an ingredient in a new insecticide released on the New Zealand market called Zero. And that Zero ad annoys me. You know why, don't you?
Yeah, I think we need to understand that these companies just want to make a lot of money, and that we should encourage them to do so by buying all these poisonous chemicals. And wrong answer.
Yes, indeed, and this study is quite interesting. But you have a look at this; it's really good. There's some good information in there. Yeah,
it made me move from this article. It talks about whether the bacteria will stay resistant to antibiotics after the herbicide is gone. But there's some comments here that you're not supposed to panic, and that the findings were interesting. So read this article and let us know what you think about this one. So this is happening here in New Zealand, and overseas they've already made some decisions about a lot of these chemicals. And I think the best way to deal with these kind of things is the consumer. Just maybe it does take you a bit longer to get rid of weeds.
Yep, vote with your dollars and don't buy this stuff. And the thing about it is that probably if it ruins the effectiveness of antibiotics, that's going to have impacts on dairy farmers, people with animals, and humans too. If you get sick and you can't take antibiotics because your immune system's been destroyed by this chemical.
And then when you get the final virus or flu or whatever, you really can get hammered, and your body, it affects your organs, your actual human organs. And what this made me to have a think about how these things are dealt with, and there's a thing called a MSDS, which is a material safety data sheet, which is produced for most products of chemical nature, because they have to conform to, you can ask for what's in these and how harmful they are, because they need to be applied in certain ways. And I had a look at the ingredient of glyphosate, and it is called, just bear with me, it is called isopropylamine, ISOPROPY, Alpha Lima, A for Apple, M for Margaret, IN for Nelly, E, and it's it's got some really interesting reading here, and this is because it's very hazardous, corrosive, and exposure to it can cause, prolonged exposure to the substance. It says can produce it can produce target organs damage. Repeated or prolonged contact with spray mist may produce chronic eye irritations and severe skin irritations. So these products are there and they're highly toxic, and they may produce general deterioration of health by an accumulation in one or many human organs. If you're really worried about a product, get the MSDS, the Material Safety Data Sheet off the internet. It's under sciencelab.com, and have a look at the chemicals you're using and see how dangerous they are.
Yeah,
and
I think does the actual place where you buy these from, do they have to provide it to you as well if you ask?
You can ask for them, and it says it says special remarks on toxicity to animals. It says here, harmful to aquatic life in very low concentrations. So to me, that's like, okay, you might spray, 3 or 4 times a season. Then what's going to happen? Because will that mean that they've got high concentration? So it's going to harm your animals as well, like your dogs and your cats that might be wandering around. So
and your children that are running in the grass.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what they said in the article, wasn't it?
Yeah,
and this compound is brought to you by our friends at Monsanto.
We just say that when you're using chemicals, be very aware that maybe, spending a couple of hours doing a dig out of weeds might be more helpful to you. And if you've got bees, you have to be very careful indeed, because if it's an accumulative effect, it might go into the wax and into the honey and could cause issues for your next, season's bees.
Or you if you eat that honey.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And we got some feedback from some of our readers, and Patrick, the honeybee rescuer, he says the never-ending game of whack-a-mole when using any type of synthetic poisons or treatments. Amen, Patrick. I agree with you. It's crazy.
He's the honeybee rescuer.
He is. It's a
awesome.
Good title.
And we love to get this feedback because, it is interesting to hear other people's views. It's nice to know that people, support some of the things we say, but we also hear that, when people are a bit, have their own views, like we talked about a queen excluder, and we heard that, that people just leave their queen excluders in over winter, and we think that could be dangerous to leave it in there because the queen may well be left behind in the cluster if the bees get a cold, spell, or it gets damp below, they might move up. So, yeah.
Absolutely. We'll talk about that later on in the questions.
Sorry.
Someone's asking about that.
Got a bit ahead of myself.
No, that's all right. That's all fine. And the next story, it's a bit more positive. A new home for honeybees just off the tarmac.
Airports don't have a particularly eco-friendly reputation, but they typically have large swaths of land that can't be developed. And at several airports in the US and overseas, that land has become popular for raising honeybees and producing honey.
Wow, that's great, isn't it?
Yeah, I think this is awesome. I think that this should be, new apiaries all round.
Absolutely. We remember, it was about 6 months ago, I can't remember, but we had heard of some people in Seattle doing this. They had some hives near the airport.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So that's fantastic. So great news, everyone, and thanks, guys, for doing that. The bees need space.
They do need space.
And here's another great article. Become a bee-friendly gardener this year by planting these. And this is Here's the Buzz, 16 plants that benefit bees. And this has been shared 81 times by our readers,
Awesome.
Isn't that fantastic on the Facebook?
Okay, and it says, with spring fast approaching, many gardeners, including myself, are happily spending their wider nights cozied up.
Winter nights?
Sorry, winter nights. Jeez Louise.
What's a wider night?
It's a night that's not as condensed as other nights.
Okay.
Okay, cozied up inside, flipping through page after page or site after site of seed suppliers. We're looking for the hardiest, most flavourful and disease-resistant varieties for our zones. We're also looking for aesthetic appeal in much the same way as our winged friends are. Thus, planting a garden with ourselves and the bees in mind is easier than we might think. And this article is really good. It's got some really good photos and
heaps of information, eh?
Yeah. And when you click on, when it goes through each plant, you can actually read about the actual plant itself and how to grow it.
Yeah.
And there's a good one about doing the which is the monarch one.
Oh, milkweed?
Milkweed, yeah, that one's got a really good article with it on how to grow it. There's the number 4. It's called primroses, but in New Zealand we actually call them polyanthus.
Yep.
And, there's just some few terminologies that we use a little differently.
And the other thing to do is that we didn't realise there was multiple pages, eh?
Yeah, you have to scroll down and there's
there's a big next page thing.
Yeah, it's orange, and you just click on that, and that's where the page numbers are. The only thing I worried about in this article when it says disease-resistant varieties,
yeah,
I'd worry a bit about that in terms of whether they've got fungicides on them, because they are finding that some plants that are seed packets that come from seed packets have got fungus embedded in them so that they don't rot. But some of these are quite toxic and harmful long term to bees. So yeah, just be careful when you're having a look at these things.
Absolutely, just find things that would work in your garden and things that you want to have, like squashes or pumpkins and. Oh, I like borage.
Yeah, and open flowers. You don't want hybrid flowers that are so closed in that the bees can't get in them, because they are doubles or whatever. You want single flowers for the bees so they can easily get in and pollinate them.
Well, I think all these ones are the ones for bees, so that should be okay if you stick with these ones.
Yeah, and there's a lot of ads on this. So just scroll through them and, you'll see the photos of the flowers.
Yeah, some of those ads are quite funny. Look, they're advertising a Behringer mixer for doing podcasting. I wonder why they're doing that for me.
Okay.
That must be my Christmas present.
So
anyway,
awesome. That's a great article, guys, and it's got some good handy garden hints in there too. So,
and we've had some feedback from you guys, and Joe Clark said, and lovely plants they are too. So thanks, Joe, for responding to that.
What was that? Is that from that particular article?
It is.
Oh, fantastic, Joe. Thanks for taking time to let us know. And yes, I agree. Lavender are awesome at the moment here in New Zealand and West Auckland.
Yep, absolutely. And the next story, bees attack bus passenger.
Da-da-da-da.
After they pee on a beehive. Well, for this month's Crazy Beekeeping News, we bring you a story from Vietnam. Oh, man.
About how a
coach trip was interrupted when a male passenger decided to urinate on a beehive. And a whopping 22 passengers are seeking medical assistance after being attacked by bees because of one idiot peed on the beehive. Well, yeah. Good.
Just
I think that's
didn't know,
fair enough.
or?
I think the bees are right in this case, weren't they?
Yeah.
No, I think he was trying to be funny.
Oh, that was really funny.
I think it's hilarious.
Everybody funny. Now he's funny too.
Well, Mr. Bus Passenger, we all think it's funny too, and we're all laughing about it today.
I just wonder one thing, really. If he was peeing on them...
Yeah. They must have been in a tree or something, eh?
Oh, I don't know, but if he peed on them, I wonder if he got any stings on his appendages.
We can only hope.
We can ponder that one. Oh, not too long though.
Well, if you're listening, get in touch and we'll talk to you about it.
So if you've pondered on it and you've got that thought in your mind, just read the next article, and it is Can't Sleep All the Way Through the Night.
Try raw honey.
Yeah.
A tablespoon of raw honey before sleep replenishes your levels of glycogen in your liver.
This allows you to sleep longer. Have you tried this? Comment below after you have given this a go.
I'm going to give it a go tonight. And I've actually have tried this in the past, and it does help me sleep longer.
Yeah, it's a really interesting article because it talks about, I'll just read the little blurb, and it says, in our age of Western medicine, the society has turned away from the natural health remedies that were greatly used by our ancestors. We often rely more on the modern chemically produced pills than all natural traditional medicine. Honey is much sweeter than sugar and is far better for you.
Amen.
Yeah, hallelujah to that, brother. Anyway, this article's quite good. They say it's that honey's good for ulcers. It's good for your immune system. It goes into your body and takes longer for your body to use it. So even though it's sweeter than sugar, there are some real benefits to having that. So Gary and I are going for 1 week completely, every night. Every night taking a tablespoon.
Yep, because apparently I did some research on this too, and the fructose in the honey turns into glycogen, and that's what happens and goes into your liver. And apparently your body can only use the glycogen in your liver. That was interesting, eh?
Awesome, yeah. And they said it was good weight loss as well.
Yeah, someone was saying if you eat warm water and honey in the morning on an empty stomach, it helps you lose weight.
Yeah.
Try that, give it a go.
Yeah, guys, I mean, there's plenty of diets out there. We're recommending the honey diet.
Yeah.
And maybe a glass of milk. And maybe in Kirimana,
we got
Nirvana land.
We got some fresh, nice milk, eh? Was it raw milk from your helper, Lynn? And she gave us a bottle of it. It's beautiful, isn't it?
It's lovely. When we finish, we're going to have a nice cuppa, eh?
We will. And we got some feedback about this.
Can I please read this?
Okay.
This is from Rob Murray. Thanks, Rob. This is awesome. And he reckons that it's especially good to help you sleep, I presume, once it's turned into mead.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, Rob, for your comment. It definitely helps you sleep, but I wouldn't recommend that because you'll probably wake up with a headache. Anyway, let's move on to questions from you. Questions from you. This is the section where we talk about questions from you.
Absolutely, and one of them is how to mount comb foundation sheets.
Yep, and this is from Paul in Auckland. And this could be a good video, couldn't it?
Is it does he mean how to mount comb?
You had to put the foundation sheet in a frame.
Oh, okay, and then embed the wax onto the wire.
Do you have an article about that? Or was your article about how to just assemble the frame?
Our article is just about assembling the frame, and
I can see a sequel in the future.
Oh, absolutely. And if you're talking about, I think the thing you need to know is what kind of frames. If it's a wooden frame, there's a little slot on the top. Yeah,
and you put the foundation in there, but first of all you put the wire in. You got to get some wire and wrap it round.
Yeah, some people...
Something for the wax to embed onto.
Yeah, some people have some wax nearby which is warm, and they just put it across the groove that's in the top where you slot the wax foundation sheet in. And some people don't do that. I mean, we don't usually do that. And then we just use a battery charger to heat the wires one by one, and I just tap it. Sorry, I tap the microphone.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just use it to tap the wire to warm it up, and the wax usually melts around that from the foundation sheet. And that's pretty much
That's it. Yeah.
But it's a good question.
Well, it probably we'll try and make a video of that over winter, and we'll release that and show you how we do it. And the next question, this has been asked by many people. I know Julie asked, I know another guy asked, how to prepare a beehive for winter, and we have been very, very busy working on this article, and it has been released last Thursday, so it's out there now, guys. So we'll put this in the show notes where it is, and you can find that article. Yeah,
and it's wintering down your hive.
Yep, how to winter your hive down for the winters in New Zealand.
Winter down.
But this could be used for people in America when it comes to your winter.
Absolutely. They'll be really busy doing their spring thing, won't they?
They will.
You'll be preparing for your increase in population. You should be getting your treatments finished so that when you do your splits, which you should, I always recommend that. Don't kill your queens, just split them and get the queen to raise a new one. If she's doing well, then why kill her?
Yep.
Just split your hives and get a new colony going, and especially if they've made it through winter, then you've got some good strong genetics to keep you going, and they've proven themselves in my view. And
absolutely.
Preemptive splitting or artificial splits are actually a really good way to stop too many queen cells.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know why anyone would crush a queen cell. You should just use that queen cell because they're very valuable and make it into a nuke, and then sell it to someone at the bee club.
Yeah, this season it's been really mad because I hear people like, I was told to kill all my queen cells because I don't need them, and I think it's kind of there is a waste there. It's unsustainable. If you get extra queen cells, then try and raise some colonies. Get some bees in a frame and try and raise a new colony from that.
Get a queen castle.
Yeah, do something like that. Just make sure that you use that resource. And like I said, if that colony has made it through the season, the winter, then they are good genetics to keep going. And when you do artificially swarm, you can keep hold of your original queen, and that's a real resource for any hobbyist. And if you get a good queen, you should raise colonies from that because she will, she's well worth keeping those genetics.
Absolutely. If you've got any questions, email us at info@kiwimana.co.nz and we will do our best to answer them.
Yeah, or, we do get phone calls as well. If people want to ring us, we've had phone calls from Australia. We've had a couple from the UK. And, we're happy to help wherever we can. So
absolutely. Just remember that we're in New Zealand time, not UK time.
That's a very good point.
Don't ring us at 3 a.m. We won't be as happy.
I don't know. I'm pretty happy most of the time.
Okay. That's good. Well, let's move on to blog post coming soon. Blog post coming soon.
This is a tough one because when I look at my show notes, there's 3 blanks.
Yeah, I know. This is a mystery.
We've got 3 mystery blog posts coming out to you
guys. In 2 weeks, we're going to have a interview with a beginner beekeeper called Julian. That's coming out. And what else have we got coming out? We've got a video with Peter Molan. And what's that one you've done? Oh, different types of beehives?
Yeah, different types of beehives available in New Zealand. I'm just getting my photos together for that, so that's nearly ready to go. And also might do a little one about the Auckland Council unitary plan proposals.
Yeah,
I'll put something small together for that.
That would be great. And also you're going to be doing one about how to mount comb foundation.
Oh, yes, that one's
coming soon.
A work in progress, that one.
Well, let's move on to feedback from you.
Woohoo! This is from Victor. Thanks, Victor, for taking time out to get in touch with us.
Yes, thanks, Victor. We liked your email.
And what does Victor say, Gary?
He says, hello, Gary and Margaret.
Hi.
Hi. I'm a small commercial beekeeper in Australia, and I just wanted to let you know that I've been listening to your podcast for some time, and it just keeps getting better. Ooh, that's good. Thanks.
Thank you.
He also says he's treatment-free, but in Australia they don't have varroa mites, so he says that may change if they get varroa mites. Oh, we're holding out for you, Victor. We hope you never get it.
I really hope that you guys don't get it.
And he wants to come on the show one day, so we'll see if we can get him on the show. It'd be interesting to talk to another person from Australia, eh?
Yeah, I think it'd be great. And, I did promise a blog post quite some time ago that I was going to put together some different beekeeper stories, but, I just haven't been able to get round to it. But you never know. I might surprise you guys.
We'll have to get you around to it.
Yeah, that's right.
Anyway, we've had no iTunes podcast, so that makes us sad. Boo. But we still love you guys, and we think it's great you're sending us emails. So if you want to interview us, not interview us, if you want to leave a review, go to kiwimana.co.nz/iTunes.
Hey, this is something also which, we touched on at the executive producers, and when we become your Patreon person, or you become our Patreon person, that you will be acknowledged as our executive producers, to acknowledge your donation to us or your support of us by way of a cash donation. And we really appreciate your support with this, and your contributions help us bring this show to you.
Absolutely. If you value what we do, please consider supporting us by visiting our Patreon page. That's at kiwimana.co.nz/Patreon. And this month we have some new great supporters. That's Lauren Hoffman and Aaron Jennings. Again, they're the executive producers this week. So thanks, guys, for supporting us, and we really appreciate all your help.
Yeah, and we wish you all the best, because they are owners of Jennings Apiaries, and you'll find them on the internet. And they make skin products, don't they?
They do, and they do honey, and they do a lot of, I think, lotions and creams and stuff. So, yeah, if you're in America, or I think they probably do ship overseas, but they may not get to New Zealand because of the restrictions, but, with the immigration stuff. But, yeah. The
biosecurity rules is what you're alluding to.
If you're in America, help them out, because they've got some good stuff there, eh?
Yeah, they sound like they're using the products from the Hive in a great way, and in a more natural way. So, yeah, check them out. Jennings Apiaries.
Yep, absolutely. And if you want to join our newsletter, it's kiwimana.co.nz/sign up. And we're producing another newsletter. We do that every Thursday. And one's just come out tonight. So, yep, check it out.
Yeah, it's interesting when we get our newsletter out, we get emails from the new subscribers, and they often talk about what they're up to and the hives that they've got, and it is really great to get these queries or statements about what's going on. And I was just trying to find one of the new sign-ups, and they said, thank you for the information you put out there, and we've got a couple of hives and we're wintering down, and what help do I need? So we do respond to them, and we do give our advice or our support or our ideas for what you could be doing.
Yep. And when we write articles about some of the questions too, don't we?
Yeah, especially the wintering down of the hives, because we did one a few years ago, but we've updated this one because over time, you learn new things. So definitely we, may modify some of the things that we do because of circumstances or products that we find on the way. So check out our new wintering down article, and I'm sure it'll be helpful. And get back to us if there's any ideas you have.
Absolutely, and thanks again for joining us this month. We really appreciate it. And that's me from signing out. So thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep,
see ya. Hi everyone. This is start again.